Recording in progress.
All right, so welcome everyone to our strength and conditioning class. Welcome. Don't mind me. Just cleaning up my room over here. So today we have a full body workout. This is our gym class where we're gonna be lifting with our dumbbells, body weight. Also, if you have a kettlebell or a dumbbell plate, any type of heavy equipment is gonna benefit you in this class today. So as a whole for today, Tuesday, we have this class going on now, and then at 10 a.m. we have our restorative mobility class, which is just stretching. So yeah, nice balance today. So let's go ahead and start with our warm up. So let's start by looking left to right. Just gently here. The neck is usually one of those areas that gets irritated during these types of sessions. If you're not focused on your form, let's go up and down. Up and down here. Hi, Shabana. Good morning.
Good morning.
So we're just stretching right now. Full body workout. We'll do sets of upper body, arms, and legs. So that's gonna be, each set is gonna be 3 exercises. And we'll try to do each set twice before we move on to the next set. Let's do our neck circles. We used to incorporate core into these sets, so it'd be 4 exercises. But with our core stability and posture class twice a week, I think we're getting plenty of core already. And sometimes that's incorporated in our cardio class too. Switch. But our arms, I guess our arms do get some work with our shoulders when we're doing quadruped exercises or movements. But this is just strictly focused on strength today. Let's do our snow angels. Just continue with those snow angels. Let's bring that right arm across. Right arm across. Hey Olivia, good morning.
Good morning, Julio. Sorry.
No, you're fine. No worries. Switch. I had we had practice this morning, and I had three people late today. One of them was 20 minutes late. Hi Carmen. We weren't talking about you. You're only 6 minutes late. So we're here. Let's do our trunk rotations. So just gently turn left to right. Left to right. Let's do our ab circles. So hinge at the hip. Come this way. Pump back. Whew. All right, big hip circles. So exaggerate that hip movement. Let's go wide, wide. Switch. Ooh. Excuse me. It's yawning over here. All right, let's go ahead and do our quad stretch. So make sure you have a counter, pull back over here. Grab right above your ankle and pull. We'll switch. So right ankle, pull back. Let's do our hamstring stretch. So slide your hands down your ankles, grab down and then extend. And our last one is our deep squat stretch. So drop down, hips down, torso upright. Right here. And then let's shift left to right. Right, and rise. Very good. All right, so as mentioned earlier, we have a full body workout ahead of us. We're going to be focusing on 3 areas of our body. So it's either going to be an upper body movement, which is going to be our chest or our back, or even our shoulders. Usually when we work the chest or the back, our shoulders are somehow incorporated in that. Then we'll use our arms, biceps or triceps, maybe even forearms, okay? And then our final movement is going to be a leg movement. So it could either be our quads, our hamstrings, our hip flexors, our glutes, or our calves, maybe even our anterior tibialis or our plantar area. So 3 exercises per set, and we're going to do each set twice before we move on to the next one. So the goal is to at least hit every one of those muscle groups once, which per set's going to be hitting them twice. So we just want to make sure that we hit the full body. And again, if there's a movement that feels uncomfortable, just awkward, causes pain, please unmute yourself and let me know. Sometimes I don't see the chat until after we're done with that movement. So unmute yourself and let me know in case there's a variation that I could suggest for you. But other than that, just have your equipment nearby so you have that handy. As far as recovery, we're probably going to go with about 30 to 40 seconds in between sets. So, or in between, exercises, okay? So have some water nearby too. So go ahead and have your items nearby. I'll give you about a minute to collect those items. Just get them ready. Make sure your space is safe. Don't have any obstructions or obstacles on the floor. No slippery mats or carpets. We just want to make sure that you're safe in your space. Okay. Alright, and we'll start probably with the less taxing movements, which is going to also work as like a warm-up to the rest of the movements here. So what we're going to start off first is going to be with, we just had someone join in. Hi Lisa and Karina. We're going to have our underhand front raises. Hello. So dumbbells are going to be here, and we bring them up and then back down. So this is going to work on your chest and on your shoulders a little bit, okay? After that, we're gonna go ahead and work on the triceps. So we're gonna use a counter. So it could be resting here, extend back, or a chair down low and extend. Okay, so that's gonna be that. We did a lot of squats yesterday, so I'm gonna try to find a variation of other exercises so we don't do so many squats again today. So we'll find a different, probably some lunges, lateral lunges, or maybe well, I think we could even do some thrusters. So a variation of squats, but it's gonna target your calves too. Okay, so let's go ahead and grab those dumbbells. Grab your dumbbells. I'm gonna grab my 10s here. And this is gonna be 10 to 12 repetitions, okay? So we are on week 5, so I think we have promoted ourselves from doing 8 or 10 to 10 to 12 now. All right, so we're here, we start wide, we bring them up and then down. Here, squeeze a little bit. And then if the weights are really light, then just slow down the motion on the way down. Okay? Very good. All right, so that's our first one. Underhand front raises, targeting the shoulders and the chest. So our 30 seconds rest, get recovered. Grab a chair if you need a counter. Okay, so we're gonna do our tricep kickback. So this is where you support yourself with the hand, bend over, elbow at your side, and fully extend back and forth. Okay. All right, we'll start in 15 seconds, so just find that weight. And again, 10 to 12 is the goal. Ready? 3, 2, 1, and begin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Alright, so readjust, go upright, switch positions, and do your other hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Okay. All right. Very good. All right, so when we are doing legs, we want to find different variations. Like I said, we did a lot of squats yesterday. So we're just going to do a variation of squats, maybe something we didn't do yesterday. So this is going to be a knee bent calf raise, okay? So we just get in a small squat position, but not really. This is targeting more your calves. So I'd like for you to hold on to a wall or come close to a wall. I'm going to use this bike here. So check out my knees. I'm going to slightly bend them forward. I'm going to get my heels off the ground and then do calf raises in this manner, okay? So I just want to rest my hands on the wall and raise my heels as my knees are bent. Okay, 10 to 15 of these. And bring your heels down slowly as well. Okay, so each repetition should take about 2 to 3 seconds. Shouldn't be super fast. I lost count, but I think I'm close to that 15 mark. And relax. Very good. Alright, so we hit shoulders, triceps, chest, and calves on that one. And your arches a little bit too. So, Okay, get your 40 seconds rest. And we're gonna go back to the underhand front raises. All right. Very good. How's everyone doing today? Pretty good. Luckily, the hot weather looks like it took a little bit of a turn. I think I'm seeing a high of like low 80s, high 70s. All right, great. Seeing a lot of thumbs up. So yeah, so hopefully it stays that way. Like I mentioned earlier, or yesterday, later in the week, last week, they were saying that there's a heat wave. But now that I see it's more in like the valley and like the Lancaster area, which is always hot out there. So, all right, underhand front raises. Ready? So again, here, start wide, come up, control down, and repeat. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Ooh. So we have our tricep kickbacks next. Okay. Targeting our triceps. Grab that dumbbell. Alright, find your position. Bend over, back is nice and straight. Elbow here and extend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Right? So again, I like to just come upright and then readjust to the other side. So I feel like I could hurt my back if I just switch in this downward position. All right, once you're ready, bring that elbow up on that other side and extend. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Awesome. All right, we're gonna go and finish off this giant set with our bent knee calf raises. Okay. Whew. All right. So again, find your position. If it's a wall or a counter, we're here. We bend the knees, and then from here, calf raises. So remember, 12 to 15. Begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. Awesome. All right. So we get our 90 seconds rest in between sets, okay? So next, we're going to go ahead and work on our back, okay? For our back, we could either do bent over rows right here. You could do supportive bent over on one side at a time. It's just going to take you a little bit longer. So if we're doing bent over rows, give me 10 to 12. If we're doing single, let's do 8 on each side. Okay, so we don't want to take too much time, so we'll do 8 and 8, or just the 12 if you're doing the bent over rows. Now our next one is going to be for our arms. We're going to go with bicep curls. So for this one, we're going to just do regular bicep curls or palms are facing the camera as we start. And then just bring that up. Make sure you fully extend all the way down. Okay, we just hit our calves. So next, I like to work on our hamstrings and our quads. And one that could work both at the same time is usually our lunges. Okay, so we'll go ahead and do lunges. We've done variations of lunges like our suitcase lunges, our halo lunges. This one we're just gonna have dumbbells at our side, and we're gonna go ahead and do walking lunges. Okay, so that's actually going to target the quads a little bit more. We'll probably do some reverse lunges later in the workout to target our hamstrings, or actually RDLs to target our hamstrings. Okay, all right, about 15 seconds left, so let's have that equipment ready. Try to figure out what you're going to do, if you're going to do the bent over rows or the supported rows. Okay, we're ready. Let's go ahead and begin. So if you're doing bent over rows, hinge at your hip, back is nice and straight, and begin. So 1, fully extend down. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Oh, the goal was 12. I stopped. Went one extra. Okay. So if you're doing your 8 and 8, make sure you just finish. Give yourself a little break. Oof. Debating if to do my run today in the hills in Fullerton by Ralph B. Clark. It's a nice little park and it connects to some other trails, or to do it out in Whittier. The thing with Whittier is there's no shade out there. Ralph B. Clark has some shade, but we'll see. Still trying to work on my heat training, so. Alright, so we have our dumbbell curls, so palms are facing the screen, and remember 10 to 12. So come up, control it on the way down, make sure it's nice and slow. Again, come up. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, go for 12, 11, and 12. All right, very good. We have our lunges next. Okay, so these are walking lunges. You want to do a total of somewhere between 16 to 20. All right, so that's going to give us about 8 to 10 on each leg. So these are walking lunges, so I would like for you to be moving forward. And just remember, for these, make sure that you lunge and then reset and then start the other one, okay? Because some people, what they'll do, and it's just a variation of lunges, but that's not what I want you folks to do today. It would be a lunge and then transition to the other one right away, okay? It just doesn't allow for all the range of motion to happen continuously. So, all right. So 16 to 20 lunges. Ready and begin. So 1. For this, you probably need the longest straight in your room. 4, and that's my longest straight. So 4 lunges, and I'm already at the end. 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Another benefit of running in Fullerton over Whittier is that I don't think I've ever encountered rattlesnakes in Fullerton. I'm sure they're out there, but I've been on some runs in Whittier where I see somewhere between like 10 and 20 rattlesnakes in one run. So that might be the deciding factor. All right, so let's take our 1 minute rest. Catch your breath. Okay, so again, we have our, what are we doing? Our rows, our bicep curls, and our lunges. So, hello. Hey, Mike.
Hi.
How's it going? Hop right in. We're in the middle of our strength workout. We're doing bent over rows, bicep curls, and walking lunges right now. So if you have your dumbbells nearby, now's a good time to go get them. So about 20 seconds to go. Turn on this fan because it's starting to get warm now. All right, let's go ahead and grab our dumbbells. We have our bent over rows. All right, here we go. So let's go ahead and hinge at the hip, slide bend at the knees, arms extended, and come up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right. Oof. So just make sure you protect your back. Everything is feeling good. Oof. Yesterday we were trying to go watch Toy Story 5, but it's almost $20 per ticket to just watch the movie. I'm like, I'd much rather wait a few more months and just stream it, instead of paying $80. Yeah, just prices are silly. Let's go ahead and do our bicep curls. 10 of them. We start here, palms at the screen, and begin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I'm gonna go for 12, 11, and 12. All right, and then our lunges. That's what remains. All right, let's go ahead. Find your space. Remember, 16 to 20 of these walking lunges. So find the biggest space in your area and begin. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then I have to turn around. 5, 6, 7, 8. And switch. 9, 10, 11, 12. I switch again. 13, 14, 15, and 16. Awesome. Very good. Okay. Need to flatten this carpet out. It's starting to warp. Okay. Alright, so our next set, this is where we get our 90 seconds rest, okay? So grab your water. Get a little bit of a break. Right now. Move this here. Just gotta condition this carpet a little bit. Okay, so our next set, we did our quads, we did our biceps, we did our, what are we missing? We need to do shoulders, so we're gonna do shoulder presses. So we'll be doing these sitting down, shoulder press, okay? For our glutes and our hamstrings, we're gonna do RDLs, or Romanian deadlifts. So slight bend at the knees, dumbbells at your side, control it slowly down, and then up. You're gonna feel that hamstring lengthening, working on those glutes. So shoulders, hamstrings, and then for our arms, what we could do is, since we already did our triceps and our biceps, we're gonna go reverse curls, okay? So that's when our thumbs are over, our fingers are all over the bar, and we come this way. So that position of your hands is gonna activate your forearms a little bit more, okay? So we're really hitting everything from the body today, doing 2 sets of everything. So that's what we're doing on this last set, okay? All right, shoulder press, you could do sitting down or standing, whatever you prefer. All right, so let's go ahead. I like doing shoulder press sitting, because then I don't have to worry about the factor of my form when I'm standing. So that eliminates that factor. But sometimes you just have nowhere to sit if you're at the gym. Luckily, we're not at the gym, and we probably have a chair nearby. Right, so remember, dumbbells here at your side. They should be resting the head on your shoulders. Exhale, up. Inhale, down. Repeat, up, down. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Very good. That's our dumbbell shoulder press there, okay? Next we are doing let's do our reverse curls, okay? Because I don't want to do the reverse curls when our shoulder press when our arms are a little bit tired from the dumbbell. So let's go ahead and do those. Right, so reverse curls. And remember what I mean about the grip. Instead of holding them like this, you want to hold them like this, okay? So all your fingers are on one side of the bar. All right, and remember, for this one, we don't want to rotate out. We're going to keep that dumbbell right in front of us the entire time, okay? 10 to 12, ready, and begin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. Awesome. All right, we have our RDLs next. Remember, this one is a slight bend at the knees, and we bring our dumbbells down and then up. Okay. All right. We have a full hour of stretching after this next session, or after we're done here with this class. So after we're done with this next set, we'll kind of just wind it down. If you are not joining us in the next class, I would recommend doing a little bit of a cool down, just some light stretches similar to our warm up. And then if you are cooling down with me for the duration of the time, then yeah, you have plenty of time to stretch with me after. Okay, so we are back to our shoulder presses. Let's go ahead and get those. We're here. 10 to 12 and begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Awesome. All right. Okay. Second round of our reverse curls. Go ahead and grab those dumbbells and begin. 1, 2. So yeah, so if you're joining me at 10, what I would recommend is either getting a little quick snack, maybe a little bit of protein to rebuild the muscle fibers that we just kind of stressed out right now. Or you could just go for a little walk on the treadmill or around your block until the next session begins. Whew. Keep it going. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. We have our RDLs to go. All right, here we go with our last set. We have those dumbbells, slight bend at the knees, and begin. So 1, slight bend at the knees, keep those back straight. 2, so my fingers are always making contact with my legs on these. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12. All right, folks. All right, so just relax a little bit, do a little bit of light stretching. I gotta end this recording and upload it and clear it before the next class. But yeah, but if you are coming for the next session, just go ahead and go for a little walk or have a little snack. And if you're done for today, I would recommend is still getting some protein in, because that's the quickest way to recover from a workout, and then just do a little bit of a cool down. But any questions before we head out? Alrighty, so I'll see everyone soonish.